Now let's talk about your young boy, Lewis. He is a happy-looking fellow. Tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, Lewis is he's a good young kid, but presented with a lot of challenges. So he turned 4 in January. He was born profoundly deaf and with a vestibular problem which causes balance issues. And all the way along we've been concerned that there might have been something else at play as well, so we've been trying to find out the reasoning for his hearing loss. It was in July last year we got some genetic testing back that told us that he's got Usher Syndrome, which causes those first 2 issues, but it's also going to mean that he loses his vision probably from the time he's 6 through to the time he's 10. He'll be completely blind. So yeah, horrible news, but I'd rather be in our position that we know it up front. Most people don't find out their children have Usher Syndrome until they start to lose their vision.
How confronting is that sort of news as a parent?
Well, it's absolutely devastating. Like when you have children, you assume that they're going to be healthy, normal, fully fit, able to do whatever it is that they want to do in life. And when you get hit with one disability, as we were when Lewis was born, and now 3, you go, it's just not fair. So there's a grieving process, I think, that you go through. There's that loss of, I hate to say loss of the normal child, because he's a normal child, but he's lost opportunities, I think, as a result of having these challenges and things that he'll have to work through. So as a parent, our philosophy and the way in which we're approaching him and what we can do for him is a little bit different to how we're approaching things for our other child.
How prevalent is Usher Syndrome?
It's I think it's 1 in about 200,000, something like that. So, which means there's about 150 people in Australia with it. And when you drill that down a little bit further, that means there might be one other child of Lewis's age that has it. So it's rare, really rare.
Do you find yourself having to, I guess, juggle management of his condition with going about your business as a normal family?
Absolutely, because we're going, well, he needs to fit lots of stuff in before he starts to lose his vision, because he won't, well, not that he won't get the chance, but he won't be able to see those things later in life. But then we go, well, he and Frankie, our daughter, they also need to have their education provided for. So we've got to, we can't take a year off and go and travel the world. That's not practical for our circumstances. So we've got to look after both the children there. We've got to make sure that Lewis goes to some ridiculous number of appointments. I think he's cracked 400 now in his 4 years, so that's sort of 1 every 4 days.
He's raised the bat well and truly.
He certainly has. He raised the bat before he was 1, probably before he was about 8 months old. And that detracts from his other opportunities as well. But what we've got to be careful, I think, is that Frankie doesn't miss out on all the things that she should be able to do too. So it's a real balancing act, and trying to get that right. Where is the correct balance? No one's got the perfect answer for that, but you do the best you can.
What are some of the activities that Lewis finds happiness in?
He's a bit of a transport junkie, so he loves trains. So we could take him on a train every day of the week, and he'd just be happy to ride up and down the train line. And the positive that we've had around his diagnosis is that people have given us lots of opportunities that he wouldn't have otherwise had. So he's been up on a helicopter. He actually got to drive a metro train. He's been on the steam trains down at Mornington. He's been to the fire brigade and ridden around in a fire truck. People have been really good in that sort of support, giving him experiences that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to access.
And you have got a big fundraiser coming up. Tell us about what that is and what you're hoping to achieve.
So we've got a fundraising dinner at the MCG on the 1st of March. MC's Mark Howard, who's been doing all the Big Bash commentary over the last few weeks. Will Anderson's making an appearance as well, doing a bit of his comedy stand-up stuff leading into the Melbourne Festival. And then we've got a heap of auction items, so some pretty good experiences and various different products to auction off on the night to hopefully raise some funds. So And the reason we're generating funds is, partly about giving those experiences to Lewis, so doing some things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to afford to do. Also about that education aspect, that he's going to need support in his education. Government will provide something, but it's not likely to be like a full-time aid at school, so we want to be able to fund that gap, because the first couple of years in particular, whilst he's got vision, are going to be really important so that he doesn't drop off and drop behind his peers. And then the other reason we suspect that we'll need money down the track is that there's therapies developing, things like bionic eye and gene replacement therapy that Lewis is going to be a candidate for. We want to be, getting to those as soon as we possibly can, and the chances are they won't be fully government funded, so we're going to need some money behind us to take up those opportunities even when they arise.
And I understand you've had some assistance from the ACA?
Yeah, that's right. The ACA have actually been fantastic. So, we've got this diagnosis, and I shared it with a number of former state cricketers who actually contacted the ACA on my behalf and raised some concerns that, we were going through this difficult situation. So the ACA, through Ben, then contacted me directly and made me aware of what the services were. And we're planning on going to a conference later this year, a symposium on Usher Syndrome in Boston, and the ACA have helped us out with the cost of flights, which is just an amazing contribution.
And the cricket fraternity more broadly, how important has that been for, not just for Lewis, but for you and Emily and Frankie?
Yeah, the cricket community's been great. So obviously you play and umpire in the cricket area for however many years it's been, long enough. You build up great friendships and great support. So Bundy Cricket Club putting on a charity match, great initiative of their own accord. I've got another friend who wants to run a charity match in Melbourne, Vermont South, Ainsley Park sort of area. The Renegades stepped up and gave Lewis a shirt and took him out on the ground prior to one of their Big Bash matches. So things like that have happened, which are just wonderful. And it's amazing what people will do out of that cricket community that have got to know you. And there's friends from that community who have said, I haven't got lots of money, but what is it that I can do? And they've just offered, and they've just offered to be an ear. People that I haven't spoken to regularly, that understanding this is a difficult time, and there might be nothing I can do for you, but I'm just here to support you. And they've just got plenty of messages like that, which has been fantastic.
And how does that support make you feel?
Kind of humbled. I was just another player amongst many others who get on the cricket field every weekend, and you don't necessarily expect that sort of support, but it's humbling, I think is the right word, that I don't want to tap into people like that necessarily, but it's nice to know the offers are out there and that people will do things for you just based on what you've shared on the cricket ground.
Is there any, look, we can't compare human lives with sport, but is it a little bit like on the cricket field when things get a little bit tough and your teammates rally around and pull together?
Yeah, I guess there is that parallel, and cricket's a great game for paralleling life in that respect, that it does get hard at times and does get really difficult, and you've got to step up and do your bit. And you could, if you wanted to make an analogy, I'm pushing uphill into the wind at the moment, and my mates are there cheering on and supporting me to make sure that I get to the crease and deliver the best ball I can.
And I'm sure Lewis appreciates it too.
Well, I hope so. He's a 4-year-old, so he's not always saying thank you, but we see it in the joy that he gets out of the experiences that we're able to give him at the moment, and hopefully we'll see it down the track when he recognises that we've done a lot of hard work and taken some decisions on his behalf, like getting cochlear implants when he was 1 year old, so that he will have the maximum opportunities in his life when he becomes an adult. Part of our journey, part of the reason we've got active is that we want to kind of raise awareness around Usher Syndrome as well. It's a rare disease, but one of the things we're doing is that as we have experiences or whatever, we're putting them up on our website. So Lewis has got a website called lewislookingforward.com, And that's just a way for people to keep up to date with, we've had these offers and we're taking up a number of them, and this is the life that Lewis is leading because people are helping us out. So it's a way for people to keep up to date with that. And then we're bringing in the links of other information and what people are doing elsewhere in the world around Usher Syndrome, and looking at the future and what that might hold for Lewis too.
David Shepard, great to speak to you, and you're doing some inspirational work on behalf of Lewis and the rest of your family. All the very best with the upcoming events and of course for the future.
Thanks, Avian, appreciate it.